Winston Churchill famously said, "You can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else." What are some good examples that prove or disprove this quote's accurate?
A few moments later.
The way this is phrased makes me think that Op is struggling with answering an essay. Turns out he never said this. It turns out Winston Churchill never said two-thirds of the quotes that are attributed to him. Auga, auga, vroom, vroom. So, the Mark 14 was the main submarine-based torpedo of the U.S. Navy in WW II. However, it was probably one of, if not the worst torpedo ever put in service, at least at the start of the war. How so? Well, it had a number of disastrous faults. Torpedo depth sensors. In a nutshell, the torpedo ran far deeper in the water than it was set to. This was partially due to terrible testing procedures. In testing, the ballast used was far lighter than the depth of an actual warhead, and a mistake which I am genuinely stunned was not noticed by anyone at the time. The sensor was located at the tail, in the low-pressure wake of the torpedo. This all combined to make the Mark 14 run about 10 feet deeper than was intended, which led to a lot of torpedoes running straight below their intended targets. 2. Magnetic detonator faults. The magnetic detonator simply did not work due to poor calibration. It tended to either fail to detonate when the target was directly above, or detonated far too early. 3. Contact detonator faults. Somehow, even the contact detonator was faulty as well. In one notable instance, USS Tenosa fired 15 torpedoes at a 19,000-ton whaling ship, and despite scoring 13 hits, the whaler survived. Nearly all of the torpedoes were duds despite scoring textbook hits on the whaler. Despite these faults, the U.S. Bureau of Ordnance insisted for several years that their Mark 14 torpedo was absolutely perfect, and that every single U.S. submarine commander was apparently an incompetent buffoon. Worse yet, they actively forbade any firing tests on the Mark 14, and went as far as recommending disciplinary action against a few submarine commanders who tried to work out of themselves what the hell was going on. It took many years before Board finally admitted they'd screwed up, and allowed fixes to be implemented.